he was a great mentor. Obviously, he meant a lot to a lot of people in this room. There are a lot of ex-football players here. He was very important to all of us. He was a great teacher. He taught us about the importance of education. I don't know why, I think I know why Matt went to Penn State. It's like why I went to Penn State. Penn State recruited you. You made that trip with your parents. You had that visit. You were assigned a football player to take care of you. And, you had dinner with the player, you had dinner with the coaches, and then the parents went over to Joe's house and spent the rest of the evening, and Joe convinced them how he was going to make sure all of your sons got educated, had a great college experience, and played some good football in between. And so the very next day, when you were packing your bags, headed back to wherever you were, your parents basically said, "You're going to Penn State." And I wasn't as irreverent as Mr. Millen. I listened to my folks. I had actually intended to go to Michigan because I was totally impressed with Bo Schembechler, and I ended up at Penn State and met my wife there, which was the best thing that happened to me at Penn State. So Joe was a great teacher. He saw the importance of education. He saw the importance of loyalty. Obviously, he's the most committed college football coach that ever played or ever coached the game. I was talking to one of the guys before, and we were talking about his loyalty. When I was, when I was a freshman, Joe had the opportunity to go to New England as the head football coach. This was in 1972, and he was offered $1 million to go to New England. He was offered an interest in the team. I think it was 5%. It might have been less than that. And it looked like he was going to accept it. And as I was telling one of Coach Phillips's relatives earlier today, like I said, Joe was a pain sometimes, and he wasn't as well liked and revered as he is today. And some of us were hoping he would leave so Coach Phillips would become the head coach. But the next morning, I happened to be in the office, and I think I was there because I was in a little academic trouble, and he was checking up on my grades, and he came up to me and he said, Giotto. Millen does a much better imitation of me. "You tell your parents I've committed to you at Penn State." He said, that was a big thing back then. Joe was a very well-known, terrific college coach, and he had already been offered the job to coach the Steelers in 1969. Thank God he turned that one down, because a guy by the name of Chuck Noll stepped in. He was offered the Michigan job in 1969. Bo Schembechler accepted that job. So he was offered the New England job in 1972. He turned it down, and I don't think he was ever offered another job after that, because people knew he was committed to Penn State. And as I said, he has spent 60 years there, 44 as the head coach. He was an assistant coach at Penn State for 16 years, and the only person. You would think a guy who had been the assistant at Penn State for 16 years would be anxious, and that was a long time, and he'd want to get out of there because it was a long time of being an assistant. Well, the only people that would think that 16 years is a short period of time, I think, is Tommy Bradley, who's been waiting at Joe's wings for 30 years. So anyway, that's all I want to say about Coach Paterno. I'm going to turn the show back over to Matt. I guess I do have one other comment. Donnie Tarosky, do not bid on that Capoletti picture. Don't raise that bid, brother.